So I thought I'd take a little time to go over the psychodynamic centers. The idea being that different parts of the physical body are associated with different psychological, mental, emotional functions. For example, the heart area. Nobody ever says, my elbow is swelling in love. It's always my heart, because there's this feeling of that involves I-thou relationships that's centered in the heart. Okay, and so we would call that a psychodynamic center. In India, ancient India especially, they used to call them chakras. Okay, so there's a psychodynamic center called the chakras. You can go through the whole body, and you'll actually come up with the same number of psychodynamic centers as there are chakras. And just using a really intuitive, common sense, grounded, down-to-earth, real-world approach, you can determine what the function of each is. And there's a real value to that, too. Because if you actually work on that part of the physical body, if there's a tight neck, for example, and you loosen that up, those particular components of the psyche are helped and enhanced. So the first psychodynamic center, the first chakra that we're going to talk about is the crown chakra, which is referred to as the seventh chakra. And it deals with connection to what lies above. Okay, it's kind of like your connection with heaven. And it's very natural, because when people feel their connection to heaven, quite often, and they do that, they hold their hands up and they open to the sky. They're opening their upper chakra to the heavens. But if you notice, it's not just the crown. When you do this, if you just feel in your body where it also comes from the front here. So really, your spiritual connection deals with largely the front of the sixth chakra and the crown chakra, and it opens like that. Okay? Now, the sixth chakra, though, the front of the sixth, also has to do with thinking. If you're thinking really hard, you never say, oh, I got a knee ache, I've been thinking too hard. It's I got a headache. Because this is a thinking center, it's a cognitive center. It's a conceptualizing center. Whereas the back, each chakra has a front and a back. As we go down in the back of the sixth chakra, it's an actualization center. You have a conceptualization in the front, actualization in the back. When it comes to moving forward in life, it involves the back. And that's where this term, putting your nose to the grindstone, comes from. So then the back of the sixth chakra deals with actualization, putting your nose to the grindstone. It actually kind of comes from here, and you put your nose forward, A lot of the just slang terms, really, when you think about it, they're feeling ways of connecting to the psychodynamic centers, The next chakra, psychodynamic center, is the fifth chakra, throat, has a front and a back. The front of the throat chakra has to do with giving and receiving nourishment, be it through spoken word or through eating, ingesting, baby suckle. It's all has to do with throat chakra, giving and receiving nourishment in either physical form or through words. The back of the fifth chakra, think about the back of your neck. What is that? Well, that deals with your relationship to society. If you're working really hard at work, dealing with a lot of people, and it's a real struggle and stuff, what do you say? Oh, that's a pain in the neck. Why? Because it involves that center. You see? And so when you're running too much energy through it, when there's too much conflict, it just hurts. Or if you're functioning well in society, if everything's going well, you'll hold your nose up high, your head up high at the back of the fifth chakra, you see? Fourth chakra, again, front of the fourth chakra, I-thou relationships, love, broken heart swelling in love, all deals with the front of the fourth. Think about between your shoulder blades, the back, upper back. A lot of people, that gets tight. And what that deals with, it has to do with, it's a will center. It has to do with asserting your will. Some people say it has to do with aligning your personal will with God's will. You can say that, but I think it's better to say that it has to do with aligning your conceptualized, sort of more superficial sense of what your life should be with your true nature, you see? So God, nature, your true nature, as opposed to just some superficial parameter. So when you try to override your true nature to get a job done, to get a task done, that tightens up between the shoulder blades, you see, back of the fourth chakra. Third chakra is right, the solar plexus, the bread belly, the bread basket. It has to do with largely kind of like the umbilical cord, your relationship with your parents, your place in the world. People get butterflies, they get tight stomachs, that all has to do with difficulties either in your relationship with parents, ties to parents, impressions that came in through parents largely from childhood, your relationship with them in childhood and how it carries over into adult life. Whereas the back of the third chakra, sitting up straight, like that, it has to do with being able to take care of yourself, sort of overcoming any sort of obstacles to just being able to manage your life, you see. Second chakra, front of the second chakra, lower abdomen, below the belly button, has to do with your sensual self. It's where you move your pelvis from. It's when you dance from that place. It's a sensual center. The back of the second chakra, sort of like the sacrum, sacred bone, sacral, that deals a lot with life force. Moving forward, stepping forward, like that. Whereas the root chakra, the last chakra, the first chakra, the crown chakra points up, and it's sort of balanced, if you will, by the root chakra, the first chakra, which points down. And the first chakra goes down between your legs. It's your connection to the earth. But really, when you think about it, your power, your connection to the earth, your power in the physical world, it has to do with the back of the second and the first. They kind of work in unison. So in the lower part of your body, you have the back of the second chakra and the first chakra are working together. It's kind of like when you move a boulder, when you push a boulder, you don't just push it with your first chakra. You don't just push it with your second, but it's those two together. So you can get down on the ground and push like that. So you're coming from both of those areas. And whereas your connection to spirituality is a mirror image of that, it's the front of the sixth and the crown, like that, connection to heaven, you see? This is just a little glimpse of a really huge field of study, and the potential, once you get onto this, once you start working with it, is just fantastic. Thinking of slang terms like that, putting your nose to the grindstone, a leathernecks, what have you, has a really big heart, can help you explore this in a really real world way. Also, even thinking of animals sometimes helps. Get the image of a aggressive dog, and what happens? All the hair stands up on their back. It's because if you think about it, these centers in the back, they're all will centers. They're willful. So when a dog is willful and aggressive and runs all that energy through the back, the hair stands up on their back. You see, like that. These front centers are emotional centers, and these upper centers are more like cognitive centers, you could say reason centers. And so that's it in a nutshell. I encourage you to just reflect on it, play with it, and see what you can come up with. Just from regular terms that you might even use in your everyday life. It's a huge insight into the way you function, and then once you start working with that and get comfortable with that, where it leads is fantastic. Good. That's all for now.